Hey everybody, Drew here for Drew.Entertainment here on YouTube.com, coming at you with another episode of For the Breaking Rocks podcast, episode number 6. Joining me as usual, my younger brother, Desert Nord. Hey bro.
Hey there.
On today's episode, it's going to be more political than usual, but on today's episode we got World of Wonder reports that a RuPaul Drag Race and Brady Bunch crossover evidently has taken place. I wasn't aware of any of that. And I became aware of it while watching Toxic Femininity about 2 weeks ago, give or take. Also, we'll be talking about largest teachers union wants critical race theory, or CRT, to be taught in all 50 states, and that's 1,400 school districts. Also, we'll be talking about Black Widow just a little bit, and what Toxic Femmes podcast on YouTube from Midnight's Edge was saying about it. Also, YouTube's censorship policy, and what I went through with that recently. Also, the Pentagon has woke training for our soldiers in our Navy now. We'll go through that shit show. The White House have recently said that the White House wants... let me just read what I wrote here for you guys. The White House wants people banned from all platforms for asking questions. They call it misinformation. And we'll get into that. And finally, to close out the show, we'll get into the NFL doubling down on their woke crap with a black anthem before the national anthem going into the 2021 season. So, with that being said, RuPaul's Drag Race and the Brady Bunch crossover. Where to start with this fucking thing? So
where do you even start with it?
So I'm gonna let you start then.
Well, what I would say is that fans of the series, either one, are
which are two different complete forms of people. First of all,
yeah.
Because in the Brady Bunch you have families that like that show over the years. And RuPaul's Drag Race, who the fuck knows? Who the hell likes that?
Well, both of them have a specific demographic.
Yeah, but very different. But very different demographics, though. So, who the hell is this for?
I just can't imagine there being a large Brady Bunch fan base that's going to also watch RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yeah, so who is this for? Probably the same amount of people that are...
I guess this is for his normal audience, RuPaul's normal audience.
And nobody else?
Who also maybe kind of sort of heard about Brady Bunch once.
So, with that being said... no, wait, you know what? I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to give anyone fucking ideas. Unlike the Toxic Femmes from Midnight's Edge on YouTube, they like giving people ideas, apparently. I don't, so I'm not going to say a damn thing anymore. Nord?
Yeah, I just don't understand it.
Because a couple of things crossed my mind, but I don't want to say them because I don't want to give them ideas. Because I don't want to see certain things crossing over with others, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Unless it's maybe Star Wars meeting Deadpool, so a rated R Star Wars, then that I'd be okay with. Nord?
Yeah.
But beyond that, I'm not giving anyone any ideas.
Yeah, you really don't want to give any of these people any ideas.
Because they probably already have some. Yeah. Speaking of questionable ideas, Black Widow. Long before the character was relevant anymore, because they killed her in Endgame, Oh, wait, sorry. Well, fuck it, we'll just go to Black Widow, then we'll go back to what I have here, because I accidentally skipped something. But, Black Widow. Midnight's Edge says that it's better than Captain Marvel on their Toxic Femininity podcast on YouTube. That's not saying much. It's better than Captain Marvel. Well, I should hope so. Right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I don't even, as far as the Black Widow thing,
yeah.
I'm not quite sure what to even say.
Well, I'm personally not going to say much because I haven't seen it.
Yeah, well,
and I'm only
granted,
inclined to do so for the sake of like talking about it like on Is It Worth It on this channel for the entertainment channel.
I'm still trying to figure out why they bothered.
Because they think that, I guess, Black Widow is still relevant, even though they fucking killed her in Endgame. Spoiler warning here, folks.
Yeah, I mean,
even though it's
again,
too late.
Even people who love the movie are still saying that it has very little meaning, given that her character's already dead.
Yeah. The way that
this
you
movie
would
should have been made 2 years ago.
And secondly, from things that I've been hearing since the movie came out in theaters and on Disney Plus, respectively, at the same exact time, movie theaters are pissed at Disney for releasing it on Disney Plus at the same time because it hampered ticket sales. And on top of it, fans are pissed because it's not very good. And I would imagine eventually investors are going to be pissed because this was like a $500 million investment, right? At least. Well, from everything I'm hearing, so far it's barely getting over like 250 million so far. And from its opening weekend, it's already dropped like 80% in viewership. Already. Yeah. Which, suffice to say, if you were to say beforehand that this isn't going to make much money because the time you should have released a Black Widow movie would have been before Endgame.
Well, I never assumed that a movie's not going to make money. In fact, I fully expect it to, just on the fact that people have been starved for all movies for the last, 18 months.
But what I'm talking about when I say make money, I mean make the company a profit, not lose them money for releasing it. That's what what I mean by make money. Which means that right now they're on track to lose money because of Black Widow on it at this time. But with all of that said, we'll see if I wind up choosing to check it out for the sake of Is It Worth It here on this channel. For the movie edition of Is It Worth It? Because there's a gaming edition over on the gaming channel with a number of episodes for you guys. But if you're also gamers, that is. But on that note, unless you have anything to add before we get to CRT.
No, I don't have anything to add to that. It just kind of is what it is.
So, largest teachers union wants critical race theory taught to all 50 states, all 1,400 school districts in the United States. Yeah. Of course they do. Because they don't actually give a fuck about your child's education, which yeah.
I was going to say, I'm kind of waiting for them to get sued over it, too, because it would actually be quite ironic witnessing the school boards getting sued again for being racist.
Yeah.
Because they got sued in Brown versus Board of Education for being racist against black people. Now they are going to get sued for being racist against white people.
Yeah.
Because that's all it is. It's at its core, that is all that is.
Mm-hmm. It is.
And they could defend it, and they could say it's justified, and they could say they feel sad about themselves or whatever. But it's nothing but that.
And then there was also a member of a teachers union saying that conservative parents need to die effectively for going against wanting their kids to learn this.
Yeah, of course. Because, you know,
so you have that.
You're in favor of it, you can say horrible shit about whoever you want. But if you are against it, you can't even speak up without getting crushed and called names.
Kind of like getting censored off of YouTube for saying something that the White House doesn't approve of. Oh wait, we're gonna get into that in a little bit. Speaking of censorship, recently I had a thumbnail for something that one of the episodes of the gaming podcast that I was working on porting over from this channel to the gaming channel, that being from Drew Entertainment to Drew Games, and the thumbnail in question involved Miranda Lawson from Mass Effect 2 and 3, specifically her model for Mass Effect 2, and a couple of well-known faces in the meme realm of things, representing social justice warriors, reacting to Miranda's look from the game. Yeah. Well, YouTube took that thumbnail down from that video, citing that it violated their terms of policy when it comes to nudity and sexual content. I'll give you sexual content, but nudity? Go fuck yourself, Google. Anything to add, Nord?
Yeah, I would just second that because goes with that. To me, it goes without saying. Like, they can go screw themselves.
But that very same thumbnail is on other people's videos talking about the very same thing, but those ones are still up.
Yeah.
So really, you're gonna pick on a fucking channel that has like only 230 odd some subs, but channels that get more attention can have it up? Okay. How does that make fucking sense?
And like I was showing you, there's far worse thumbnails
out there
on videos out there that they don't give a damn about.
Yeah, and all of a sudden they give a fuck about a tiny little fuck channel from Minnesota is doing all of the sudden.
I really don't know who specifically's panties are in a jam about that ass picture.
Yeah.
But that specific one appears to have gotten political somehow. And the people who defended the removal of it still have authority at YouTube.
Evidently.
To continue removing it.
So, let me try to bring up here the thumbnail that I wound up actually using to replace it by searching on the web browser on the Xbox here. So, with that being said, anything you want to add while I'm trying to bring this up over here so people can see in the background here?
Oh, there's been so many things, but I'm willing to just address them as they come up. I mean, the CRT thing is insane.
Yeah.
Because we've gone through a period of no one noticing it for years, and then it gets noticed by parents, and they start to do something, and then everybody denies it's a thing. And then parents finally get some leeway and some leverage to actually get it removed from the curriculums, and then suddenly it gets defended.
Yeah.
Like, this is a little game to these people.
Here we
Just
go.
in case anyone hears this and thinks, oh, well, no, this is an honest mistake, or this is a healthy thing, this is just education the way it works. No. These people are trying to destroy the life of you and your children. You should never allow them to continue doing this. You do not love your children if you allow them to be in a school teaching this crap to them.
Yeah, speaking of crap, behind me on the screen behind me, as you guys can see now, is the new thumbnail for that episode of the Judat Games podcast over on the gaming channel, in which we talked about, I believe the underlying episode of that podcast is EA, BioWare, Hate, Fans, and Women, and this is the new thumbnail. It's a Femme Shepherd, obviously with the Omniblade, but across it says Censored, because that's exactly what has happened with the thumbnail. It got censored. So that's the one I chose to basically give the finger to you, Google. So with that being said, the rest of this episode is uncensored, by the way. And with that being said, speaking of uncensored, or rather what the White House wants, actually, correction, let's get to the Pentagon first. The Pentagon has gone woke when it comes to training the Navy. As in, their training process has various woke shit, like be less white and crap like that in it. And critical race theory, too, evidently, as well.
Yep.
So
much so it looks like it's beginning to affect performance.
Yeah, so if you want to invade the United States, now would be a great time because you can conquer us now.
Yeah, especially if you pick the West Coast.
Actually, you should probably start there first, just saying.
I'm just saying, if you pick the West Coast, like what was that one video game?
Homefront?
What was it called? Fracture.
No, the video game series of what the hell is the name of it? Let me see here. Okay, so the first incarnation of it was just called Homefront, in which the main story was we were being invaded by China. And then its sequel was called Homefront: The Revolution. Is that what you're thinking of?
Well, I'm not sure which game it was. I thought it was called Fracture, but there's been many different iterations of the same story of the United States getting invaded.
Yeah.
From the West Coast.
Indeed.
But yeah, nowadays it'd be way easier than any movie's ever depicted it.
Yeah, especially with, well, from what I'm hearing, our soldiers now with this training are afraid to go up the chain of command because they don't know if they're going to get canceled or not.
Yeah.
That's how bad it's getting, folks. Even our military is infected. But with that said, anything to add before we get to what the White House press secretary and what Biden said?
Yeah, you mean about the which gaffe was that?
Well, the White House wants people banned off of all platforms for asking.
Oh yeah, that one. Oh, that situation.
Questions, as in banned off of Facebook for misinformation about the jab and stuff like that.
Oh god, yeah, no. This was stunning that the actual White House is admitting to being directly involved in social media censorship.
With the big tech censorship.
But now, we already knew they were all in bed with each other. We already knew all that.
But then
Biden... People who couldn't see that weren't looking.
But then Biden also answering a question before he got into the helicopter, I think it was, showing how sick and senile he is. He had to think about it for half a minute to figure out what his talking point was. And then he replied with well, first of all, the question was something about Facebook and misinformation and whatnot, and then Biden replied with, well, they're killing people, as in Facebook. And then he followed up with, we don't have a pandemic of the coof, or the beer bug, if you will. We have a pandemic of unvaccinated people. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself into the old folks' home where you fucking belong, Biden.
Coming away from that comment,
yeah,
I cannot see how it could be denied that was always going to be the important thing to them.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for any of them to explain to me how exactly a unvaccinated person harms anyone else but themselves. They don't. If you're not allowed to do anything that affects your own health negatively, we're under the greatest tyranny I've ever created. If that's really the case now, that you're not allowed to ever do anything that harms your own health. Get ready for all the crazy restrictions then. And the thing is, the vaccine, not getting it, does not affect another person who did get it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It affects the person who got it. No one else.
And they call it.
And they need to stop bullshitting about that.
Yeah, and so we can't question things, and they call it at the White House misinformation. No, what?
Yeah.
But what I call what you're doing is misleading the American people.
Well,
just saying.
At this point, I would use the word tyrannizing for no reason.
Well, I'm being nice about it, so. But you're also right.
They're just being bloody tyrants.
Yeah.
Like, First Amendment. What the hell is that?
Oh, right. There's one more thing I got here. Yeah. And on that note, unless you want to keep going.
Well, people who pretend that we don't have a out of control federal government at this point do not have any argument to make whatsoever. Oh yeah, it's all good. We're all good. It's all fine. These people are a special brand of stupid. I mean, even I usually say that, here and there, but no, this is like gold-plated, top-shelf Lamborghini stupid. The federal government does not give a damn about the law anymore. They do what they want, and no one stops them.
Yeah.
And that's the truth.
Speaking of not stopping, NFL to double down on their woke crap with a black anthem before the national anthem going into the 2021 season before games. So, NFL, I'm wearing an MLB hat. Oh, fuck it, I don't care. Mr. Roger Goodell, lean into the camera, just in case you actually do watch, which I know you won't because nobody watches this. If you are that hell-bent on making sure you sell no tickets to win no NFL games ever again, make sure no one wants to watch the NFL on TV again, by all means, please continue. And that's all I have to say to any of that. Nord, before we start wrapping up, your 2 cents?
Yeah, if Roger Goodell expects massive viewership while being insanely woke, he's just going to keep spiraling into infinite zero. Because even the woke left is bored with their own ideas. He's forgetting that if you don't keep people interested, giving them things they don't expect to see, you won't have viewers.
Yeah.
It's a sporting event. We tune in to see things we didn't expect to see.
Yeah, like
if all you're tuning in for is the same politics those people already believe in, and everyone who doesn't believe in those politics tunes out, what is the point of your sport even existing at that point?
Suffice to say, this is what we tune in to sports for. We tune in for big home runs in baseball, no hitters and shutouts by the pitchers. In football, catches like Odell Beckham Jr.'s catch when he was a New York Giant. Touchdown bombs by Ben Roethlisberger from the Steelers. Rushing touchdowns from top-notch running backs like what's a good one that's currently playing right now? Like who would be the top running back in the league as far as you're concerned?
Well, there is Saquon in New York.
Okay, so huge 90-yard runs from Saquon Barkley. Yeah. At least I think that's how I say his first name.
Sure, yeah, no, it's Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, or yelling at the referees for getting the call wrong again. That's the NFL, not pandering to. I don't want to say left-wing politics because this isn't even left-wing anymore. This is full-blown fascism, is what this is. Right?
Yeah. Well, if we go back for a moment to the feds involving themselves in social media, that's fascism. As far as the NFL goes, they're just being dumb. They're ignoring every single aspect of what football is supposed to be in order to push political bends.
Yeah. But with that being said, that's what sports are supposed to be. All we can do when it comes to the Olympics coming up, let's see, the opening ceremony is this Friday, actually, Friday morning, so we'll see what happens with that. But my expectation, based on what I've been hearing, is it should be okay. But, well, again, we won't know until we actually watch the Olympics, which I intend to do this year, so.
Yep.
As I imagine you probably will as well, right?
Yeah, it's going to be hard to avoid, and it's going to be the only thing that's worth
watching
really
that's on for the next 2 or so weeks, give or take.
And for what it's worth, they can't virtue signal while they're performing. And I can avoid podium ceremonies because they're woke. Well, if I get to see some actual sporting.
Well, keeping in mind that the IOC has also recently said that they won't tolerate protesting during national anthems, which is on the podiums, then, or during the opening ceremony.
Yeah, well.
So.
I can't imagine
we'll
how
see
they
what
stop
happens.
Them as soon as they say that, though, that's when the athletes are going to be like, "Screw you! I'm doing it anyway."
Yeah, but they did also say that there will be consequences for it.
Yeah, and see, then the people who are virtue signaling can act like actual victims, and say, "Oh, they hurt me for virtue signaling. Woe is me."
Well, they told you fucking
we didn't
not
have to do that.
Well, first of all, they told you not to.
They couldn't help themselves, I guess.
Yeah. They can't help themselves from continuing to want to be professional, helpless victims for a career, which apparently that's a career now too.
The thing is that we've seen that they could have any amount of money, they could have any amount of success, they could have any amount of support from the media, they could have any amount of
support from their fans.
Absolute support from absolutely everyone around them, and still feel oppressed.
Yeah.
So there's no helping it with that going on.
Quite. So with that being said, as I said before, this was episode number. What did I say this was? Episode number 6 of Breaking Rocks is now at a conclusion. And with that being said, hopefully, coming up in the future, hopefully there will be a more entertainment version of this. and we can just keep breaking rocks to just calling out stupid bullshit.
Yeah, and you know, I will say one thing.
What's that?
They operate under the rule of peace being absence of opposition.
Yeah.
And so long as that's the case, they're never going to be content because they will not go without opposition.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, me and you were here for that.
Yeah. We're the opposition to the fucking fake bullshit. So, with that being said, everyone, for the outro, as you guys can see, I got a new hat. Arizona Diamondbacks, found it at Target yesterday morning.
Yeah.
And
too bad they are the lowest ranked team in the MLB right now.
I couldn't give a single shit. I just like the state of Arizona because of your governor.
No, I know. It's okay. I mean, I'm here, and
yeah,
you know, it was funny because on Saturday we were rooting for the game in the NBA Finals Game 5. Now they still have 6 at 7. Hopefully they could pull it off.
I'm sorry, you cut out a little bit there. You said the Phoenix Suns, right?
Yeah, we were watching the Phoenix Suns game on Saturday, and they almost pulled it off, but they lost just by a few points, 4 points.
So what's the standing in the series then? And is that the NBA Finals?
Yeah, it's the NBA Finals.
Okay,
yes.
So then it's for the actual championship. Okay.
Correct. It is for the championship.
So what's the standing in the series then?
But yeah, the Milwaukee Bucks have 3 games, and the Suns have 2.
Okay, so when's the next game? Because I'm actually would be interested in like skipping the introduction to because it's the World NBA.
I believe it's in a few days.
Okay, yeah, I will look into that more because I'll be interested in checking that out too.
But they have to win both game 6 and 7 to win the whole thing.
Yeah.
If they lose another, it's over.
Yeah, but keep in mind that throughout history in sports, we've seen teams go from like down 0-3 for example, for the American League pennant, and then sweep through the World Series like the Boston Red Sox did, beating the Yankees and then beating the Cardinals back in 2004. So we've seen like sweeps before. We've seen teams, and then this is just winning 2 games. So that's nothing compared to what the Red Sox did. So it's certainly possible. We've seen bigger fucking comebacks than this. So.
Well, the Suns haven't been a bad team.
Well, yeah, they're competing for the NBA championship. Of course, they're not a bad team. They're either.
No, I mean, in recent years, even they haven't been a bad team.
When it comes to this year,
the Red Sox had struggled for a long time.
Yeah, and then they wound up doing that. By the way, the year I graduated from high school, so fun fact.
Yeah. But what I was going to say is that.
Yeah.
But then we had on Sunday, there was the Diamondbacks-Cubs game.
How did that go?
I
didn't watch that.
Despite the fact that the Diamondbacks are hopeless in last place in the entire MLB, they won.
Interesting. What was the score?
Yeah. It ended up 6-4.
Was a close game then?
Well, Uncle said it wasn't. Him and our aunt were at the game.
Okay. Well, he said it. Well, the score suggests it was a close game.
Yeah, it does, but but they went into the top of the 9th, 6-2.
And the Cubs were trying to come back and then didn't. Well, still, based on score, it's a close game. Based on our uncle's opinion, it wasn't.
Yeah, he was disappointed at the same time. I mean, but he enjoyed himself because he was kind of rooting for either one.
Yeah, because he grew up like an obvious longtime Cubs fan in Chicago, and then
Yeah.
migrated to Arizona, just like the rest of you guys. And
Yeah.
I've steadily been losing interest personally in the Twins because of everything that's been going on in the state, for the most part.
Yeah. Well, I haven't had any interest whatsoever in sports this year, pretty much. I mean, I was looking at the MLB standings and going, what has happened to this league?
What's been going on in the
Because,
standings?
well, teams that you would normally think were terrible, like the Padres or the Stros or
The White Sox?
yeah, or the White Sox. Like every team you would expect to be like right at the bottom is not.
They're like last I saw, the White Sox were in first place in the Central Division.
I know. Um,
And
but then you've got teams like the Diamondbacks who haven't been terrible, and were great if you go back far enough.
yeah, but I only saw the White Sox were in first place on accident when I was looking for information on the start time for the Olympic
Yeah.
opening ceremony, and that popped up as the first thing for some reason.
Yeah.
That the White Sox were in first place. I'm like, I don't care about that. I'm looking for the start time for the thing.
But yeah,
Fuck the White Sox.
I
I haven't cared about them since we're living in Chicago.
I definitely don't recognize the MLB. It's not the MLB I remember.
Well, the NBA isn't the NBA that I remember when Jordan was playing with the Bulls, obviously. MLB, well, MLB isn't the same MLB. NFL isn't the NFL. The only thing that borderline, last I was aware of, resembles itself is the NHL.
Well, here's the thing.
Right?
If I watch the NFL,
yeah,
and I took a look at the standings, like say if I just checked in at week 14 or something,
yeah,
I would at least be like, oh well, I kind of know why some of this is why it is.
But
when I looked at the MLB, I was like, I have no idea why any of this is the way it is.
But I'm talking about the virtue signaling of the other sports leagues, though.
Oh yeah, well they're all covered in that.
With the exception of last I was aware of the NHL, but I don't know if that's still the case or not anymore.
They're probably the least of everybody.
Which means I would probably be more inclined, and I've never liked hockey, inclined to actually watch hockey games now.
Yeah.
For that reason.
Like I was also going to mention, when I was out in Vegas, the Golden Knights were doing great. They still are in hockey.
All right.
They were like multiple years running in the championship.
So there's a hockey team in the middle of a desert.
Yeah, isn't it hilarious? And they're good.
So their hockey rink is a sandbox.
Yeah, you can bet it's not an outdoor rink.
I know, I'm joking.
I'm actually surprised they're even capable of engineering such a thing. But
anyway, I just couldn't help that joke.
That
they're skating on sand.
There's hockey teams all over the place in hot areas, so it's all just
I know that,
nonsensical.
But still, at least in Southern California with the Ducks or whatever it is, it's not in the middle of a desert. In the case of Las Vegas, it's in a city in the middle of a fucking desert.
Yeah.
Ever wanted to gamble and look at hookers in the desert? Las Vegas is right up your alley. Anyway.
Yeah, the great irony of the NHL is that the majority of the teams play in hot weather. Because of the timing, and the locations.
With the exception of the Maple Leafs.
Yeah, no, of course, because you're talking about Canada at that point.
Yeah.
All Canadian teams are justified and make sense, but some of these American teams are kind of in hot weather.
Which reminds me of a fun fact that no one likes to acknowledge about hockey. It was invented in Battle Creek, Michigan.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Canada adopted it as their sport, but guess what, Canadians? We invented it. Anyway.
Yeah, well, they would say, oh, well, we were playing that game for decades before you people started playing it. They'd say something, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, because we invented it and gave it to them, and then we wanted to play it too because it was our invention. Just saying. Anyway, with that being said, what are you going to be up to after this?
Well, I'm going to try and get some playtime in.
In Elder Scrolls Online.
But I do also have to eat something.
Yeah.
And some other, run-of-the-mill day stuff.
Time is it? 4:12. We'll see. The things that I'm looking at potentially doing is checking out what's going on YouTube, booting up Disney Plus, and attempting to watch Black Widow.
Yeah. Yay, good luck.
Or watching
you gonna do that Monty Python thing?
What's that?
Yeah. Well, where it starts playing and then there was much rejoicing. Yay.
If there's going to be any rejoicing, it will be probably on paper for Bad Batch, maybe. Oh, there is one thing that did come to my attention, like right before we started filming too, that I noticed on social media, that reports are claiming that filming for God Help Us, if it actually is true, finally, The Mandalorian Season 3 is starting pre-production. By the sound of crickets from Desert Nord, he clearly doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, it's not big on my radar.
But the fact that Season 1 and 2 were good, and then they decided not to keep going with that, go with all this bullshit instead, is just fucking stupid of Disney. But and then so far this report, amongst all the rumors of Season 3 is canceled, Season 3 isn't going to be coming, blah blah blah, which would be even dumber than what they've already done. You have something that made Star Wars fans happy and then cancel it? Well, now there's a report saying that that the pre-production is now starting or will be starting very, very soon.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that. But I wanted to end on that positive note for Star Wars at least. So with that being said, everyone, thank you for checking out the 6th episode of Breaking Rocks. Sorry we got as political these days, but that's kind of what happens when shit like what's been going on lately happens. Someone like me has to say something. Right, Nord?
Yep.
So with that being said, everyone, as I said, thank you for tuning in. Hit the like button on your way out, or if you haven't already, subscribe to content like this, and we will see you at some point in the near future. As to Wednesday for the gaming podcast, we'll see. We're still supposed to be talking about our favorite memories in gaming at that point, because I don't have anything else at this time for it. But with that said, we'll see you guys next time we see you. Have a great rest of your day, and be well, everybody.
Yep.
Later.
Yep, see you guys.